When a massive cargo vessel lists into the sea, the physical stakes are clear. Thousands of tons of steel and millions of dollars in goods are lost, often followed by a high risk to human life. In the aftermath, investigators hunt for mechanical or environmental root causes. They scrutinize maintenance logs for a cracked piston, review meteorological data for rogue waves, or check bridge instruments for a navigational calculation error. But those investigations often overlook the unique conditions inside the vessel itself. A cargo ship is a high-pressure environment, characterized by extreme confinement, prolonged isolation from family, and a rigid rank structure. Maritime authorities now recognize an invisible root cause behind many human error accidents: psychological unsafety and harassment. This chart displays the prevalence of shipboard harassment based on data from the 2025 Sailors Society report. It shows that active seafarers are 2 to 10 times more likely to experience bullying than people working in onshore industries. The human error that causes a physical marine disaster is the final symptom of a toxic shipboard culture. Harassment is a systemic operational hazard with the same impact as a mechanical failure. The International Maritime Organization, or IMO, is the United Nations agency responsible for regulating global shipping. Historically, their mandate has focused on technical competence and physical safety. Through a major regulatory update, the IMO has reclassified shipboard social behavior, moving beyond technical requirements. The primary framework for this is the STCW Convention, the Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping. First adopted in 1978 and updated by the 2010 Manila Amendments, it dictates the skills required to work on a ship. The new STCW 2026 amendments introduce a mandate for competence in social safety, psychological well-being, and the active prevention of harassment. Seafarers must be formally trained and certified in these social safety standards, which now carry the same legal weight as certifications in fire suppression or navigation. This change updates the legal definition of seaworthiness. A vessel is fit to sail only if its crew operates in a psychologically safe and respectful environment. To understand why these regulations exist, we must look at how interpersonal conflict, like an officer hazing a cadet, causes a 50,000-ton ship to run aground. This flowchart maps the causal chain. It begins with toxic leadership and intimidation, where a senior officer uses aggressive behavior to suppress junior crew members. That behavior creates psychological unsafety. Crew members paralyzed by the fear of retaliation decide it is safer to stay silent than to report a minor navigational error. Silence leads to slackness. Slackness is the formal maritime term for the withdrawal of effort. When morale collapses, standards in routine maintenance and watchkeeping drop immediately. Slackness triggers a loss of situational awareness. Because the crew is disengaged, vital safety information, like a drifting heading, is ignored or missed entirely. The cascade of missed warnings results in the physical accident. The ship collides with another vessel or grinds into a reef. The destroyed hull is the final domino in a chain reaction initiated by toxic behavior on the bridge. The STCW 2026 updates are engineered to break this causal chain before the crew reaches the point of negligence. This table compares training focus. Before 2025, the focus was technical skills and emergency procedures. After the amendments, social safety and mental well-being are integrated directly into the core curriculum. Under the updated Table AVI1-4, which covers personal safety and social responsibilities, seafarers must prove competence in recognizing and preventing harassment. The amendments integrate the SASH framework, sexual assault and sexual harassment. These are now classified as recognized, auditable safety hazards. To protect the crew members who raise the alarm, the regulations mandate safe, punishment-free reporting protocols on every vessel. Professionalism at sea now requires the active maintenance of a respectful, zero-tolerance environment. Technical mastery alone is insufficient for command. Enforcing these rules is complex. Modern vessels operate with multinational crews that navigate intense rank structures. This diagram maps the architecture of shipboard misconduct. It breaks down into behavioral actions, situational triggers, and consequences. The situational triggers act as catalysts. Conditions like isolation, fatigue, and language barriers can escalate minor misunderstandings into major conflicts. Cultural backgrounds dictate how harassment is perceived. Direct communication from an officer raised in an individualist culture can be perceived as aggressive verbal abuse by a seafarer from a collectivist culture. Historical practices like making new cadets perform dangerous or degrading tasks, once defended as tradition, are now strictly reclassified as hazing and hierarchical abuse. Codified definitions are necessary to ensure that cultural differences do not lead to a culture of silence and operational risk. The ultimate organizational target of these regulations is a just culture. This matrix contrasts three environments. A blame culture treats every error as a personal failure and punishes instantly. A no accountability culture ignores rules entirely, tolerating reckless negligence. A just culture distinguishes between human error and misconduct. An honest navigational error is treated as a learning opportunity, while deliberate hazing or harassment is met with strict disciplinary action. STCW 2026 interlocks with MLC Title 4.3, which governs occupational health, and MSC.428.98, which manages cyber risk. Together, they form the standard for modern maritime professionalism. This environment is designed to guarantee open communication and eliminate the hidden psychological risks that threaten the vessel. These frameworks transition into global enforcement starting in January 2026. Port State Control, or PSC, inspectors will audit the social environment of foreign vessels entering their ports. Inspectors will demand physical evidence, updated STCW certificates, training logs for social safety modules, and records of toolbox talks covering harassment prevention. They will verify confidential reporting channels, like sealed drop boxes and digital systems, along with procedures protecting crew members from retaliation. The commercial consequences are severe. Vessels that fail to demonstrate a compliant social environment face immediate detention and operational shutdown. Psychological safety is a hard, auditable metric. Under the new standards, it legally dictates a vessel's right to participate in international trade. The responsibility to enforce these standards daily falls to captains and senior officers. Leaders must model respectful behavior, use correct professional terminology, and intervene immediately to prevent the normalization of toxic actions. Crew cohesion and psychological safety correlate to a vessel's resilience. In an emergency, a crew that trusts its leadership will execute procedures with precision. The amendments replace outdated mentalities with a standard where dignity is treated as a core safety value. By implementing STCW 2026, operators move the global fleet from a fragile culture of silence to a resilient culture of care, securing the human element and the ship.